going on today, guys? Welcome back. Chappy and Bengals Podcast, except today isn't exactly going to be a podcast. We got something a little bit different for you guys out there today.
Yes,
we got the resident baseball folk, Mr. Chappy himself. We're going to be running through a MLB fantasy draft for you guys out there. I know Chappy wants to talk some ball, so we got a draft coming up. It's 8:44 in about 15 minutes. So we're going to kind of get into the chit-chat here, and Chappy's going to show
like
us...
fucking Gazoo over here, so don't mind the helmet fucking headphones here. But yeah, no, we're going to get into, got the fantasy draft running. It's a 10-team. Definitely going to kind of run through it. Right now we have a keeper. A little different than most, obviously, in redraft leagues. We'll kind of go through this, but got a good team. I got a good team here. I got a good.
So wait, this is a keeper
foundation. This is a keeper league.
So can we see the keepers? You gonna pull up the roster here, buddy?
Let's pull up the fucking roster. Let's see how this goes.
Come on.
All right.
Let's see some of these players. Wet the whistle. Run me through it. I myself, not much of a baseball guy, but I do think we're just talking pre-show here about how baseball is kind of the go-to fantasy option, just because it's such a statistical sport. So it'd be cool to kind of see Chappy run through this draft here, see who we're going after, who we're targeting.
Yeah,
good old Yahoo League, eh?
Good old Yahoo. Oh man, Yahoo for fantasy baseball is the best. Hard to beat it. I know Sleeper's trying to come in and get
Are they trying? I didn't even know they had.
Yeah, they have a little
platform.
bit going on. Yeah, on the platform now. So at least for betting, I know that for sure. But I think they are starting to creep into the fantasy market too. But yeah, so I'll kind of go through it right now. 10-team league. We keep 5. We expanded the roster. It originally started in like 2012 as like an 8-team. And then that was just way too little, and we're like, we need more people. And honestly, we want to get it bigger than this, but 10-team is just fun. You get a little bit of that redraft, in there, and then you also can obviously keep your players. Now, I built this team up, went through some slumping years, tried a lot of things, learned a lot of different ways. But right now, my keepers, and this is through trades, crazy trades, good trades, back and forth, down years. Literally keeping guys year over year out of the NA slots and just trying to build out a roster, a foundation. So I got Vlad
This guy's got Vladdy. I just saw that on the side.
As a Blue Jay fan, you had
this
to
guy
have
better have a big fucking year, man. After the contract he was asking for, I just saw that. That's insane.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Ronald, $500 million is what he's asked. Apparently, they're $3.5 million off.
Years.
Yeah, the years
on the
contract. Was it 14 years? Yeah,
that's fucking insanity.
That is crazy.
Not a chance.
Yeah. But kind of get into this. We'll get into more of that, I'm sure. I know we already have on some of the other pods, but we got Vlad Jr., we got Ronald Acuna Jr., we got just the juniors. Fucking amazing. This guy was unbelievable for me a couple years ago. But obviously he was hurt. And honestly, this guy pretty much put a pit in my season last year. Second he went out, I actually had Spencer Strider as well. Luckily, I pivoted in the draft and got this guy right here in Jackson Churio, and he's going to be potentially a stud. So looking forward to seeing what the offers there. And then Julio Rodriguez. So safe to say, I'm not drafting many outfielders here.
I was going to say, you're stacking outfield now. I guess, okay, this is also going to act as a little bit more of a education platform here for the people that don't watch baseball too much or invest in, fantasy baseball like myself. So why the stacked outfield?
So I find the volatility in the positions, and outfield is obviously it's a very deep position. But when you get the talent in these 3 guys coming through, these are potentially all 40-40, and this guy had a 40-70 year, and 40-70 is 40 home runs and 70 stolen bases. This is absurd. This was record setting. And I don't know if these guys have that ability to get to that. Like 40-40 is a record breaking year in itself, but these are a couple 30-30 potentials for sure. And that's just very rare. It's very rare to find power, average speeds. These are 5-tool players all the way through. So whenever you're looking for it, especially in a stat league, you're looking for multiple pieces, multiple picks. And especially against categories, you want to have all of the power, the speed, the average, everything. And these guys can definitely contribute to all categories. So that's definitely the main factor of why I went with these guys. I drafted young. This guy was out of the draft early. This guy was out of the draft early. I traded for Ronald Acuna. Funny enough, I did trade back with Bichette and Garrett Cole to get Ronald Acuna. Turns out they've been equally both hurt. They put up great seasons equally apart, and then both Garrett Cole's now out for the season. So crazy how things turn around, but that's what it is. Hopefully he has a healthy season. He's going to start off, I think, pretty much on the IL here, and then we'll kind of kick it off from there. And then my
Mm.
last keeper is that young man right there, Paul Skeens. We
You would have
love
fucking the
Mean
Skeener on your
Mean the
team.
Skeens, baby. That's the name. That's what we're running with.
Oh my gosh,
And I don't
man.
know if you guys can zoom in on that, but that's one Livy done. Uh,
Wait a second. Where's the team name? Do we got a team name here yet?
yeah, we're
Lean,
we're lean,
mean, the
mean the Skeens. Yeah,
Skeens.
that's how it grows.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. That is a thing of beauty
These
right
guys
there.
got to get it in the draft though. Got a couple guys that are a little late to the pull here.
This is interesting. So what's like the least valuable position? Kind of like the fucking
So
trying
I
to
want to
equate
say
it to
the
like
the
football.
least valuable and probably the most valuable right now in the league is probably catcher or first base. And the reason I say that is catcher is such a premium spot. Once you get past like three, like the third catcher in the league, if not the fourth, then you're pretty much falling off a fucking cliff.
So it's like the
Um,
tight ends of fantasy
yeah, it
football.
is exactly. Like it's tough to get a really good catcher, and even the really good catchers, because of their playing time as well, they get load managed. They don't nearly put in as many at bats. It's tough for them to get a lot of value in there. So when you get like a premium catcher, it really is like honestly league breaking sometimes.
Right.
And if you can get it to certain categories or guys that do it, like Salvador Perez a couple of seasons ago, putting up 40 plus home runs, was a massive. It's a win, right? Like because you just don't get that kind of value a lot of times out of a catcher, especially offensively. Like the position is built for defense. It's primarily to call games, and honestly, like gravy on top is always a catcher that can hit and produce in other ways. That's why Buster Posey was so important for so many years to the Giants.
I
So
got you. Interesting.
so that's definitely I would say first base is again it's just like finding premium power, and I know we just talked about Vlad there, but honestly Vlad is he's not in a premium position, so he shouldn't be making the premium money, so to speak. And even like the comps there with like Bryce Harper, Bryce Harper's now transitioned from an outfielder to a first base, right? Like you kind of like
Yeah,
as a
first base is like not
fantasy baseball,
versatile
it's like
whatsoever.
it like every good outfielder that can hit regresses to the first base position. Hopefully
Yeah.
they can pick it, right? So
Yeah.
that's been the case of it. But honestly, it's we got an interesting draft here. We'll kind of review this with 7 minutes left. So we had a lot of offensive talent kept this season and dropped a lot of pitching into the first couple rounds here. So some of these guys, obviously Trey Turner, he's kind of on the turn of his career, pun intended. That was a good one actually. And so he's kind of come down, but he's still sick, right? So he's a great player to have. Um, I'm curious to see what I'll do here because I do have to fill up these other slots. But just because of the premium on what's available for pitching in the first couple rounds here, I know that um, I know I'll be finding pitchers, right? Like I know I'll be as this goes along here. But like young guns like Wyatt Langford, I think I saw James Wood dropped in the draft. Those are guys that you're gonna want to kind of pick. Granted, like both of these guys are outfield. I already have outfield, but like just if you're looking for young talent and something in the keeper league, these are the guys that you're kind of eyeing because they have all the talent in the world. It's just about kind of having that breakthrough season, and every single one of these guys starts within the top 20 of the draft or the top 20 prospects. Usually those guys pan out into something. So you can always kind of keep an eye on that into the second year. It's actually wild that these two were kind of kept, but it speaks to the talent on the guys' teams. And that's just the
Mm.
depth, right? It's a 10 team.
Who's like some sleeper guys you're looking at that are like you think are going to be standout this year?
So some of the sleeper, like there's a lot of picks here that as we get down further into the draft, like I'll start looking more at the sleeper guys. Right now, what I tend to kind of look for in the early going is, you know, the kind of the top talent. It's tough to pick pitching right away. I had, Tarek Skubal had a phenomenal end of the season last year, and I looked to get him. He drafted right before me. But it's one of those like things where you're looking at a pitcher that has all the premium stats and kind of the StatCast numbers to support the growth and the trend of where they're going. Christopher Sanchez is an interesting one to me. I've drafted him subsequent years, and he's panned out pretty well. It's one of those guys that has just really great underlying stats, and some of which you can kind of lead to like, an impressive opportunity where, okay, it just takes, a full season of innings to really kind of stretch out the total play from the guy. And I honestly think like Christopher Sanchez, I picked him last year, I picked him the year before. It hasn't yet broken through, but I honestly think the underlying metrics, he'll go late in the draft. But he's someone that I would like to kind of like fill out a rotation if I don't have someone there in that spot.
Gotcha. So is this points or categories? Your format?
This is all cats. So
All
we picked all the
cats.
cats. Obviously, right now we got a ton. We got hits, runs, home runs, RBIs, stolen bases, walks, all the good stuff. It basically splits right down the middle. Um, and so it's obviously, I think it's 6 and 6 categories on each side a piece.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we got all the main ones. We've kind of like changed it over the years. Some were doubled down. Like it started like 12 years ago, right? I think the league is
Right.
called 12 years running. And in that regard, it's like we've manipulated different categories. We've swapped things out, like saves and holds. We've like talked about just kind of building that one together. Then we would have to pull out because we want offense and pitching to have the same values. So it's kind of like a built league based on like multiple categories, making sure that they're synced up. Like we don't want to undervalue pitching, we don't want to undervalue batting. So we
Yeah.
kind of kept it the same. So that's why we kind of like give a little bit to the relief pitchers and we give a little bit to the starters, right? And then same on the other side. Oh, here's some guy that's about to talk and randomly tell us that it's
I
fucking
love these intro videos on Yahoo. They're fucking hilarious. Oh man. Andy Burns.
Andy Behrens.
This guy's telling you your roster's fucking mid. Chappie,
Yeah.
you got to step it up here.
Let's see what Andy Behrens has to say.
You got to post the.
I agree. I agree with this point. Like that guy. Yep. Had that guy too. It's true. Andy Behrens might be onto something here.
Fucking Vlad. Is he gonna have a season or what?
I think he's gonna have a season. That's a fair pull. It's actually something that's become very, very hard to find. Even the averages as we go through this, like in this draft, it's going to be very like you're going to see the like very few individuals bat over 300. And I don't know, there's like a clip online, and it was basically back in like the 2006 or 2004 All-Star game, and everyone had a batting average of like 340, 350, 360, and it was absurd. But like the league was different. It prioritizes different things now. The averages are they're not dead as that said, but they're hard to come by. And like even if we looked at some of the projected stats, like you don't even see that. Like two guys are projected to hit over 300 now. So you and that like Jordan Groshans isn't gonna fucking play. Like he's gonna play 10 at bats. Like
So
that's
you
a
gotta.
wild projection, but like it does like there's possibility across the top like 20 here, and there's definitely guys that are like capable of it, but it's
Hmm.
incredibly rare to kind of find.
Gotcha. So you got 30 seconds till the draft here. Who's your guy right now? Who you eyeing? You got what? Third pick?
Yeah, so
Who's your guy you're
I
going
got
with?
third overall. This I hate this when this starts going up like this because right now I'm looking Manny. Manny's just pretty consistent. Third base, it's a position premium to kind of fill.
Right.
I wouldn't be disappointed in drafting Manny in this slot, nor would I be disappointed drafting Trey. Um, but Trey is just kind of getting up there, but he provides that stolen base, that average potential. And honestly, he's just kind of had a couple down seasons within his like Philly career. But I wouldn't say that he's dead in the water just yet. So if I can get, something like that, but I'm looking here. If Manny drops, I'm going Manny.
Manny.
Jackson Merrill. That's wild, actually, to start that off. Manny!
Nah, no way,
That's
man.
how it goes.
That's crazy.
All right. I might switch it up.
Oh,
So
that sucks
Jaron
when your
Duran's an
guy
interesting
goes,
one.
man.
Yeah, that's classic. It starts right away. Jaron Duran's an interesting one because if you take his actual walks and you just give him a couple more runs, he's like his stats are almost one for one with Corbin Carroll. Now Corbin Carroll is uber talented. Jaron Duran has been kind of in that pool of like depth. It's only Boston that I kind of scares me about him. Um,
Can you really go outfield again,
I
though?
can't go outfield again. I'm gonna lock up a premium position. Just want to kind of check on shortstops here. That's left. Matt McClain, Willie Adames. Fuck it, we're going Trey. Yeah, I
Nice.
like that.
Who's got my man, Ellie?
Ellie.
Who's got De La Cruz out here?
Ellie belongs to who is the fine gentleman? Actually, I'm kind of confused. Maybe he already went. Uh, Wizard of Albies, Manny. The guy knows what he's doing. It's
That
unfortunate.
guy knows what he's doing. I like
Yeah,
that.
I'm getting chirped too. Wild Tree went third. You gotta do it. You gotta do it. The
I
only
just
thing
want to.
here is now is now pitching.
I want to preface that Jeff helped me draft my fantasy basketball team this year, and I'm in last place. So I wouldn't put too much stock in what he says about fantasy so far, just
Oh
yet.
yeah, yeah.
We'll see how this turns out.
That's
We'll
how
do the
that goes.
recap, mid-season recap on the
Mid-season.
squad.
We'll see how it goes. That's where I lock even further. Get that All-Star break in me. We're good.
Oh man,
Willie Adames next after that is even crazier.
shortstop, little shortstop run. People
Yeah,
getting
no,
scared.
it could be as simple as that.
Who's
Um,
the best shortstop in the league?
all that 100% would go to Ellie.
I like that.
Yeah.
Cincinnati just got good players down in that city,
Oh,
eh? Fuck.
relax, relax. Man, he is
Don't
a little
matter what
offering.
sport, baby.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. So I'm kind of just taking a look here to see what's left. Um, right in the second half of this. So what I like to do as well is I go to Statcast a lot and I kind of bridge into some of the stats on the players and kind of where they land. Um, some of these stats are kind of key indicators as to like what a player's hit values are. WOBA is a good one. Expected WOBA is a whole other different beast. But basically what that is it gives like weighted on base. Um, and it gives value to how a player gets on base. So like it's a little different than slugging and OPS. Um, and so I kind of there's a lot of it's a prime rating to kind of like look at how effective a player is and how much they get big hits. Especially when it comes to fantasy, obviously you're looking for value in the offense. And so obviously you got your top hitters here, and those guys are the ones that are getting paid in the league. So it's a good stat line to kind of go through. I also tend to look at a K to walk ratio because it's almost it's funny when you look at it from a standard of like pitching. You always look at a low walk and high K ratio, and on baseball and batting, it's the exact reverse of that. So you're always kind of looking for that high walk percentage and low K percentage. And if you can start to get a player that's valued like very closely, some guys are absurd. They'll K 130 times, and then you get other guys that'll walk like Juan Soto, who's notoriously one of the best at getting walks, as well as Aaron Judge, and they'll walk 140 times. And you just want to get that value out of that because those are stat fillers. And a lot of guys, like a guy like Max Muncy, is a guy late in the draft that sometimes doesn't provide in all those. He's kind of flip-flops year to year, but he'll go and he'll walk 100 times. And so the value of that comes in category leagues where you're going to find that value in a player that otherwise maybe he doesn't hit, for high average, and Max Muncy will not do that, but he will fill those other categories where you need them. Ian Happ is another guy that I like to pick because they give you value in a category primarily. For a long time, I know Andy Barons was just saying about stolen bases, but that was honestly a stat that you would try to fill with certain types of players. And now it's kind of become a little bit different. A lot of players are taking stolen bases, so
Fucking love hearing this shit. All I'm thinking about is Brad Pitt in Moneyball, where he like snaps his finger and he's like, he gets on base,
he gets
gets
on
on
base.
base.
Yeah,
Love that.
he gets on. What does he do? He gets on base.
He gets on base.
Yeah, seriously. That's honestly one of the greatest movies as well. Like fucking Moneyball,
Iconic.
hands down,
Yeah, one of
iconic.
my
Yeah,
favorites. One of my favorites.
yeah,
I could watch that over and over again. Never
yeah.
get sick of it.
100%. I do find this funny that Joe's like losing his shit in our league, being like, "You were literally like in the first round. What's happening?" But yeah, no. So kind of looking at this now, I like to use the ADP diamond ranking as well. Kind of gives you a sense of what other like high ranking guys are looking at. Position rank is also the other one. I don't often compare stat lines. If I'm looking for a certain cat, I will kind of filter by that. But other than that, I'm kind of looking at what the position is, who's left on the field. Adley being in this position is kind of something that I'm looking at. Someone just go Roki. Roki's gone. Roki is a Japanese pitcher, young gun,
Sasaki. I like that name.
unbelievable pitcher. If you guys didn't check out the Baseball Classic, guy's a fucking stud. And obviously went to the Dodgers, so that's a high win rate. And that's just a great pick overall. I think everyone wants to take that guy. I have no idea what.
I think everyone wants to take that guy.
Seriously though,
Fuck
like
yeah.
he's got incredible movement on his pitches. He's just one of those guys that's fucking nuts.
I wish I had that guy on my team.
Teoscar
Like,
Hernandez in this round is literally crazy. Teo MVP, that's nuts.
that's wild.
That's
That
a
is a wild
textbook
pick, no?
parking lot pick. That's a little crazy.
Jeez.
Well, that's where I'm like, now I'm looking at this draft and like seeing what of the positions that I can fill that I need to fill in terms of offense.
Jesus fuck. Salvador Perez still plays?
Oh yeah, he's still
There's
there.
no fucking way. How old is this guy?
Oh, he's getting up there.
Jeez.
What honestly shocked me was this for Jacob deGrom. Chris Sale's a good pick there. Um, honestly, he's just like he's a little aged. I think he's like 36 now, but
Yeah, I was gonna say
he's still
Sale's got to be up
pumping it.
there.
Yeah, he's still pumping it. And he had a down year 2 years ago, and then he came fucking flying back last year. But honestly, just wild the stats. But Jacob deGrom hasn't pitched like at all in the last couple seasons. Just hurt. One of the greatest pitchers like of our generation. Like this guy was unbelievably dialed back with the Mets, but he just has not been the same. And so I'm kind of shocked at this ADP for Jacob deGrom, especially just considering the innings constraint that's probably going to come up here. Like having him projected to, I think it's 120, yeah, 125, is just kind of nuts. Like that to me is you're not gonna like for this premium of a pitch, like he's not pitching 200 innings. So you're spending that pick on this guy for pretty much half the season, and that's bearing he doesn't get hurt. That's kind of nuts. Who is that? Oh, does Strider go? Yeah, it's not bad. All right.
It's just fucking slow. Holy
Yeah, it
shit.
is slow. Um,
I guess first couple ones you're like, this is keeper league. You got to kind of get these ones right.
yeah, just because I like this is a tough spot to be in. I think I'm gonna go Logan Webb. We'll start actually building out my queue here on the right, and we'll just kind of go through and probably explain why. Um, Mason Miller, I like. Mason Miller has all the stats to do great things. The biggest thing with Mason Miller right now is just playing literally for the Athletics. And regardless of whether or not it's in Oakland or otherwise, it's not a good team. Speaking about those guys, but he's everything underlying speaks really well to his ability. Um, Relief pitching is interesting here as well. Um, I like to focus primarily on pitching because I already have the offense, and this is my draft strategy. Because I already have a lot of what's here, um, talent-wise, I don't really focus much here. So even going Trey Turner at that point was a bit of a reach, but it's just kind of good to get that locked-in potential for average and bags. Like this is gonna get me plenty of bags, so I don't have to worry about it. But like just having that guy locked in for the potential of hitting and just in a good order, right? And, like he's going to score a lot of runs.
So what's like when you're looking at your roster right now, what's like your weakest stat category right now that you're punting it
I I
or
don't I don't feel with the roster that I have that I'm punting any category.
you think you're
Um,
pretty well
I'm
rounded right
I'm
now?
really well rounded with this crew. Um, that's where I'm kind of gonna focus on pitching over the next little bit here. I like that pick with Shota. Um, that's where I'm gonna
Whoa,
nail in.
Mike Trout.
Like Trout is,
What
yeah.
what's the deal with the injuries with Mikey Trout
Well,
here?
yeah, we already
How's he
talked about
looking?
that. He
Yeah, we
hasn't played
one
a
of our
game
first
past the All-Star
videos.
break. Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Go check that shit out. Um, he hasn't played at all in the last little bit. I like Max Fried here in this situation. Mason Miller, I think will go. I either do two things here because I'm going to be drafting a little bit later. But just because of just the amount of pitching that's about to just run off the table here, ooh, Spencer Schwellenbach.
Yes. How many categories is there for pitching?
Talk
Like
about a
six?
sleeper. This is a good sleeper. Um, yeah, so six
Spencer
categories.
Schwellenbach? What a name.
Schwellenbach, baby.
That's a mouthful.
Um, yeah, no, it's a good one. I don't mind that. I'm gonna go Mason Miller here, and just kind of he just has all the good tools that I like. It's just gonna be the opportunities, honestly. And then as we kind of progress through here, we'll kind of go through and address. Because honestly, I think the best thing, like this guy's gonna be hurt. All these other pitchers, like I don't mind. Garrett Cole's hurt. Adley is probably gonna be my next pick, and
Yeah,
just lock in.
Cole's out for the he's not playing all season, is
No,
he?
he's done for sure. I like
That's rough.
Cody. That's a classic pick from my buddy Swain. Junior Caminero is just a young gun. Um,
This guy's like, what the fuck is happening?
yeah, this is not shocking in the least. Reach.
Desperate.
What do you guys know? I don't. I love that. Yeah, I like Wilson too. I just think Baltimore right now is a much better place offensively. Um, so if Adley is there, I got a couple good back-to-backs here. I don't know if he will be, but we'll see. Um, but I still got these guys here too. But you can kind of see the catcher position, like it's there, but it's not the best. Matt McClain
Did
is pretty
anybody keep
solid.
a
He's out
catcher?
of Cincinnati. No, not one catcher was kept.
Wow, so really isn't
Actually,
of
no, that's not
that
true.
much value
William
then.
Contreras out of Milwaukee. I don't see him on the list, so it looks like he might have been kept.
I see Simeon there. How's he?
Simeon's just getting older. I think that's the biggest thing. Like he kind of provides just a little bit of everything, just not very like
Hmm.
elite. He's just kind of like good. So I'm not overly in love with that. Um, we can talk two bags though. So Simeon's there. I like Jordan Westberg. I think this is gonna. I'm gonna throw him on there. And Luis Garcia Jr. Those are my two guys that I'm kind of eyeing in the draft here. Matt
So what is
McLean is
second
pretty solid,
base?
but
What differentiates them from like other positions here? Like what do they have to offer? What's kind of their thing? What are they doing on the stat sheet?
so I know for Jordan Westbrook or Westberg, sorry, just has a lot of solid underlying stats across the board. I think the biggest thing for me, Luis Garcia as well, as I was looking through it, and not just on Statcast, but on like Fangraphs as well. You kind
Hmm.
of go into like weighted runs created. They're some of the top guys in the league. They're in the top 30, top 40, and it's just kind of like one of those players that when you have a guy that can create runs, especially in fantasy, those are the guys I like to pick and kind of like to target. Both of these guys, there goes one of them, Jordan Westberg right there. That's a great pick. So Luis Garcia, that will be my next guy that I'm going to. Granted, I don't mind Matt McLean either. I like Matt McLean a lot. But it's just going to depend on how Cincy's offense is doing, but I'll throw him in the queue as well. It's kind of funny seeing the downturn of some of these positions.
How's Cincy projected to be this year? I know they lack a
Like
lot of
decent.
surrounding cast,
Yeah,
but
like decent. Like they had a good hot run last year. But I think they have
they got
talent that's coming in.
Francona coming in, right?
Yeah, they got solid players. It's honestly rounding out the pitching now. Like they've been getting young pitching in, but still very raw. Like still like that's their biggest concern is they just don't have anyone that's a real standout. But like
Yeah.
offensively, they're like a pretty good team. It's honestly just like the pitching that really lacks just depth. And that's their biggest concern, and just not only depth but just like consistency. Um, like I think if they can get in, they had a good bullpen, um, but their starting pitching has just struggled for a couple years now, and like they're leaning on like Hunter Green, who's sick. He's gonna take a step. I saw him already get drafted, but that's where you kind of look at that. That's a good pick. I like Bregman. He was on my radar too as three. Um, but that's where you kind of look at these guys and you say, okay, are you going to be able to provide some of the value, I guess, from a pitching perspective? And honestly, it's a tough go. But there's that Max Muncy guy, and you can kind of see, right? Like as you walk through a lot of these guys, and then
Yeah.
Mr. Dude here with the walks, right? But he doesn't hit for average. If you get 240 out of Max Muncy, which is what he kind of tends to do in his career, he kind of goes like 200, the Mendoza line, like which basically means like you're shit at hitting. Um, and he kind of borders that every single year, except sometimes he just decides that he's going to hit 240, 250 and hit 40 bombs and also walk for 130
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
So he's kind of the greatest player alive when it comes to like what the
He's
hell are
got the
you going to get?
walks,
But
but
what are
his
you going to
hits
get
are
out of Max
the
Muncy
worst in
every
that
year is my
stack.
question. So it's like you're going to get a decent amount of pop and you're going to get some run production and you're definitely going to get your walks. He's got a great eye at the plate. And honestly, this year with the challenges, he's probably going to even get more. But he does not hit well. So you're very
Yeah,
cat
clearly.
picking here, right? Like you're very much looking, hey, I'm going to go with a cat. And probably walks is the only reason you're drafting Max Muncy. But we still got some pitching on the board here. And I like good pitching. We're going to start rounding out some of the good pitching. So George Kirby, I just heard today that he got an injection in his shoulder. So I don't know what that's about. Didn't really list what it was exactly, so it could just be um, a simple injection just to kind of give the muscle time to heal. But that kind of concerns me. I did actually have George Kirby in a lot. Damn, that's a great pick. Bothers me. Riley Green is also a good pick. Um, so we're gonna go a little bit down here because I don't trust really much of any of like this. I'm okay with Iglesias because he's gonna get save opportunities in Atlanta. They're gonna be up a lot. So I do like this pick. Helsley as well. Unbelievable stats. Like just has the ability to get strikeouts and do what he needs to do. Like that as well. Felix Batista also great. Just kind of was hurt last year. Pablo Lopez had a great year as well, and you're going to get a lot of innings out of him. But I'm going with the old pick here, and this could fall flat. But I'm going to go with Spencer
Spencer, right?
Schwellenbach. A lot of good underlying stats. Had a great
Schwellenbach.
year last year, um, and honestly, kind of figured it out once he added another pitch. That's crazy. The fact that Shohei's pitching got picked up this early. Um, that's kind of nuts. But I'm going to go back to back
Wait,
here.
what?
Yeah, so he gets split. So if you don't know this, you're not in these leagues. His batting
He
profile and
has.
his pitching profile get split.
Wow.
So you can't have both and have them benefit and slot them in. So it gets split up. I am
That's
going to
why.
go.
That's wild.
Yeah,
Why can't you do that? Because it would just be the fucking like biggest lock of a pick ever.
pretty much. Like it would be a guaranteed first overall. That's why he's a guaranteed MVP almost every season. Um, you know
That's
what?
crazy.
I'm going to go off the board here. I like
So
what this
he's
guy
he's
had to
pitching
offer.
again this year then, I guess.
Yeah, he will be. I think he's only projected to be about 120. Um, but definitely something that I love that.
There any like veteran guys that you're kind of avoiding this year, kind of like predicting the fall off or anything like that?
Uh, right now you wouldn't put much stock in like a Goldschmidt or any guys like that. Like they definitely have fallen off into the out of the good graces, I would say.
Mm.
Um, what I would say, I'm just kind of looking this as I pick. Looking at the team. I think I just want to kind of keep. I don't see like in the positions that I have right now, like catcher. I don't know how that worked out. So you still got that. Salvi can get 25. I honestly think Wilson's probably a better selection here. Um, it's more just the production that you're gonna get. Salvi's still in a good spot. He's just older. That's my only concern. I'm gonna wait on this because I like another pick later. We're getting down to the nitty gritty here though. We're gonna go Felix. Ooh, that ding scares me. I think Baltimore's gonna be in a good spot to win a lot of games this year again. So anytime I'm looking for just a pick, especially in that position in the closing, um, that's something that I want to make sure that I'm kind of eyeing wins. I'm eyeing like not big wins, but just being up in games, and having the ability to kind of shut down the team and having that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Austin Matthews just scored in the Leaf game.
Fuck, buddy. I was watching the Leaf game the other night. Um, not to talk about and any opportunity for me to bag on the Leafs, I'm just gonna slide right in there. I'm gonna slide right in there, man. I was
Yeah,
watching the Ottawa game on Saturday.
yeah,
I think it was Saturday. Was it Saturday?
uh,
Can't remember. Yeah, I think it was
yeah.
Saturday.
Saturday.
Fuck, dude, it's like watching the same movie over and over and over
They are
again. I
definitely
swear
going
to
through a
God.
spell. You know what's so funny? I think we called this, tracking it back to that other San Jose shot that I called, 100%
Yeah,
scheduled loss,
correct.
nailed it. But yeah, that's just how they go. Um, it's
Are
honestly it's crazy.
you gonna sit here for the rest of your life and just chalk it up? That's just how they go. Like,
Yeah,
fuck
that's just
that,
no. I
dude.
know, I agree, but it's just the Leafs do this every year. They get to a point where you're like, this team is awesome. They've got all the tools. And then they hit an absolute mid-season, late season, mid to late season slump. And you're like, fuck, what are we doing going into the playoffs? And you just hope that they catch fire with
That's an
them.
awful plan. Holy shit. It sounds miserable.
It's awful.
Wonder what that's
Yeah.
like. I think the one thing you got to worry about is your star player is not your star player. I looked at the scoring leaderboards. He's not even on it, man.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty bad
Yeah.
considering the season he had last year and the cold spell he's going through. So I don't know about your boys, but
Yeah.
I still don't want to play them if I'm Tampa Bay in the playoffs. So Tampa's just they don't know how to play playoff hockey anymore.
No, it's yeah, it's a weird.
Boys better
There's
figure
my
it out.
boy. There's my boy. I actually just saw him. Where is he? There he is. There's that sleeper. There's that sleeper right there. We love that guy. But right now, so I got Mason Miller, I got Munoz. I think Seattle's going to be one of the better teams. We'll just kind of see how that plays out. They've always kind of been positioned, and they're not afraid to spend either. So I'm okay with that. Athletics is not good. That's why I'm kind of doubling down right now on relief pitching. Just because I know Baltimore is going to kind of cap what these guys may not do, but I know these guys are going to get a lot of Ks as well. All three of these guys are locks for Ks. But that's where this guy is literally called the Mountain. This guy is like 6 foot fucking 9. He literally throws down like literally into the zone. Guys don't even know what the fuck to do with it. It's crazy, but it's awesome. But he was hurt for a lot of last year, so I'm hoping he kind of has that rebound. But this guy as well, unbelievable stuff. If Minnesota actually played this guy in a role that would put them in a way to win, he got put into so many hold positions last year, where it was like literally having to bridge the late inning stretch and playing like 2 innings and just could barely find a save as a result. But I love Duran. I think his stuff is incredible. Um, it's just a matter of honestly getting the right spot to have that. But I'm going to start looking a little bit more towards starting pitching now. So I don't know what to feel of this. Zach Gallen I like too, and Sonny Gray. These are two guys that should be considered honestly fantastic in terms of their value of what they bring. And they, for whatever reason, in the last couple seasons here, they've fallen off big time. I got Sonny Gray here as well. He had a massive season as well for St. Louis. Justin
So
Steele is awesome.
Sonny Gray is such a fucking baseball
It's
name.
such a
Holy
baseball
shit.
name. It's awesome. Shane McClanahan, he's coming off of injury. Sandy Alcantara is also coming off injury, but honestly, like he had a bit of a down year. Grayson Rodriguez was like touted as the next best pitching prospect, and he's just kind of come into his own in the majors. Not really any quick. Jared Jones also queued up here. I like what he has to offer. Seth Lugo, I also throw him on there. I like his underlying stats as well. Um, and that's kind of where I'll probably land. Yeah, we'll go with that. Lewis Gill has a lat problem. Bowden Francis, I don't know if you guys paid any attention to that, but if you did pick up Bowden Francis last year for the stretch of games where he literally went on fire, was the best pitcher in baseball, and was just like lighting up the league. I wonder if it says the stats here. So yeah, Francis made 10 starts during which he allowed 31 hits, struck out 58 batters over 65 innings, and held opposing batters to a 140 batting average. Like this guy was on another level in that 10-game stretch. It was honestly incredible to watch as a Blue Jays fan. You're like, what the fuck is happening right now? Like, who is this guy? And honestly, just kind of like sneaky. I like Bowden. He'll go on the list. More just because that's someone that I like. Blanco as well, late pick. I like him. Gavin Williams, sneaky guy as well. And this is a sleeper and a half. Brandon Woodruff is incredible. And he's coming back from being hurt, but this guy is so fucking good as a pitcher. It's just health. So I'm gonna try and
Why? What makes him so
sneak one
good?
here. Oh, just he's like when Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff were on the same page, like 1-2 starts, it was honestly hard to tell who the ace of that organization was. And just like the underlying stats are always there. If you haven't like crept into why this guy is just kind of sitting there, again, he's going to be one of those innings pitched constrained guys. But if you can get a solid, part of your league and getting into the playoffs with someone like this, maybe trade him at the deadline, be a little sneaky, knowing this league's going to take that absolutely. But I just love to see what happens. Let's go up. Christian Walker. I don't even know who's been off the board here. This is another thing. Yeah, there's that Ian Happ guy with the walks. Don't need that though. I will go Wilson here, just because that's drying up a little bit. And I just like the overall potential. I'm going to go Wilson.
Wilson, and then you come back around a couple picks, get that.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the picks. I already got, hopefully they're still there. Yeah, still got Luis Garcia there. So that will be who I'm going to try and aim for in terms of pitching, or sorry, in terms of second base. Matt McLean is still creeping there as well. But Luis Garcia is a sleeper. I like, and just Washington's an interesting team. They're not very good, but he just kind of provides against a lot of different categories that you can kind of just get some value out of that position. And second base is like, you talked about a position that just doesn't have a lot of value right now. Second base is one of those spots. I like Matt Shaw. Matt Shaw is, I think, second right now in the rookie race online in any sports betting. So I will be trying to creep on Matt Shaw here.
He's also got a multiple position thing,
Yeah,
which is the
which is
best.
sweet. So I'm going to probably creep on that. Um, I don't know if I'll go too early on that, but I do like that pick. There are some rookies that obviously have already been taken in this draft. Um, but that Matt Shaw is actually one of those that you kind of keep an eye out for. Yeah, I don't love
So you
the rest
still
of
don't have
this.
a two bag or a three bag.
No,
Any reason, any particular reason why?
honestly, right now it's more just the depth of the position, and I know that I'm going to be able to find something at some point to be able to fill
Yeah.
that. Um,
Well, you also got like guys with like multiple position
to
cues,
me,
like
right now,
Vladdy's.
the value of a player like in that position. So if we go to third, right now, you're kind of seeing a similar type for the stats that I'm going to be looking to fill, a similar type of setting, like 240. Like this is not, and these are just projections. They're nothing major. Like these guys will hit above that. Um, that's an interesting pick, Garcia, at that point. Um, I kind of like Vientos. I like Bohm as well. Um, he's honestly very consistent, and he had a good year last year. I think I'm gonna go see where it is in the
Nobody's
last.
keying on Chapman, eh?
No, Chapman, he just doesn't really do it for anybody anymore. Um, we're gonna go with that. Royce Lewis is interesting. So Royce Lewis was like a top graded profile on a prospect for years and years and years. This guy cannot escape the injury bug. There's two players, and unfortunately, Minnesota drafted both of them in Brian Buxton and Royce Lewis. Incredible stock profiles as a player, as a prospect. These guys have been hurt more than Mike Trout in the last 4 years. Like just the worst luck. And when they play, they're unbelievable. And unfortunately, you can see it in their at bats that's like projected. They don't last long enough. Like he pulled up in a game yesterday, I believe, with a lower body injury. He's gonna start it on the IL. Like
No, I love
this
that.
is just, but like, and limited to 70 games. Like he's just not found health. When he's playing, he's phenomenal. So this is like one of those guys that if he drops effectively, I will take a flyer on. just hoping and praying that he can survive the injury bug. But it's just kind of in that dark realm of do you actually spend on that? Xavier Edwards is an interesting pick. I actually grabbed him. Yesterday I had did a little fantasy pros action on the how did you draft kind of situation. Got a 100% rating. Don't worry about it. Um, but this guy I drafted yesterday, and he was an interesting pick. So he came up, kind of flourished, not supposed to in a way, like just didn't expect to, and came up, stole bags, hit for like 330. Really, really good. He's a sneaky pick. I might pick him up as like just a backup to Trey. Because he's going to provide a lot of those other categories that you're kind of looking for, but not necessarily is he going to get a lot of this or a lot of this because he's playing for Miami. And Miami is awful. And that's just the case of it. They don't have anybody on offense. Jake Berger, I think, is their best player. Like they
Oof.
just don't have it. Jake Berger, I think, just went. So their best player is going in like the whatever.
That's rough.
Yeah. I forgot that I had a couple picks there. I was like, why? I was wondering at one point. I was like, why did I go so quick to quick to quick?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's why. But let's see what goes. Christian Yelich is interesting. I like this. I'm gonna come back around to this. These guys are those late kind of guys. Justin Steele got hurt, freak injury last year. Fantastic start to the season. So I'm gonna 100%. This might be who I'm locking in on first, and then I might make a run if I can just go the table here with what I've queued up. That might be honestly what I do. Reason I do that is just I can find players that will come out of the woodwork, whether or not they're rookies or other positional players that have breakout seasons. The best part about fantasy baseball is literally the towel boy can fucking figure it out. Like, and I mean that seriously. Like, there's just a guy randomly every single year that becomes an all-star candidate out of nowhere. And so you kind of find that you just have to be on the prowl. You have to be watching. Like, we're going to be there all season long. Chappy's cheat sheets will be with you. So pay attention to that. But this is something that honestly we're going to be kind of taking a look at, falling on who's rising, who's falling, who's kind of just not paying their part. That's an incredible pick. I love Dylan Cruz. That was a rookie that was there. Ew, I can't believe he was still there. Yeah, great pick.
Slipping. Slipping. So is there any like crossover between like, how in fantasy football you can like stack players?
Yeah.
Is there any sort of crossover with, baseball? Does that
No.
affect
Yeah,
stacking? Isn't
there's
really a
not really
thing?
there. Like you can like it's because it's like 1 through 9. Like
Yeah.
you can benefit from having like back-to-back players. Like if you, as an example, like Philly, like you could have Trey Turner get on, and then I know Kyle Schwarber plays the like thing, but Bryce Harper could knock in Trey Turner. So you can have like things like that where you feel like you're getting both sides of the of like a couple categories, but nothing like to the extent of feeling like you're really benefiting from a stack, so to speak. It is a very individualistic kind of league. Like you can benefit in some ways, but I've never stacked a player, mainly because if a pitcher is on, you're basically fucked if you do that. Like you can have
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
shutdown the lineup altogether, and it doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah, makes sense.
Six closers before for some reason.
So what's the bold predictions for this year in the MLB? What's the hot takes?
Like just in
The
general, who's going to
Jays are
be good?
shit. We know that.
Yeah.
Give me some spice. We got some teams that are gonna be coming up, making some moves.
Yeah. So I don't think Baltimore's very far off. The Jackson Holiday was their rookie last year. Didn't have a good start to the season at all. He will he will come around. I do think that. Um, that's awesome. Um, this guy's a piece of shit. I hate that. It was targeted. It was targeted, Tyler. We did it intentionally. But that's honestly like I think there are some opportunities with like the AL East is an interesting spot. Boston can be sneaky good. There you go. Jake Berger didn't even go yet. He
Yeah.
just went. Um, New York is dying for pitching, so New York might fall off a fucking map here unless they figure something out. And it's not like they're gonna have to acquire something. It's not they can't do anything now. Like Garrett Cole, Lewis Gill, I just mentioned, had a lap problem. That was
Yeah.
like their rotation is a little shot, so they can have all the offense in the world, which also they kind of fell off with Juan leaving. And I think that's the biggest opportunity that I see is like the AL East is kind of like there's their top teams, but it might get ruffled around a bit. Um, Jays might kind of swing some things. It depends. Like this,
Stop it.
it depends. It
Stop
depends.
it.
Like you gotta look at it like this. Like Bo is on a contract year, Vladdy's on a clear contract year with a purpose.
That's the one thing I can see
You
like yeah,
you
popping
have
off.
some defense-minded players. Um, like that's really and truly the way that this team kind of operates. So I'm not I'm not really like, you know, thinking that the Jays are out of it completely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to say just a play. I'm just trying to think of a team that kind of can shock some people. I think Seattle might come around. Um, that's a spicy one. It's definitely a spicy one.
Seattle.
Yeah. Like there's a couple divisions just like football that are just crapshoot divisions. Like just
Yeah.
crapshoot. KC might take a step. KC, I like KC's got a lot going for him. Um, there you go. Who do we got? I like this pick. I'm gonna go with this pick. 'Cause I got another one coming up.
Steel.
Yeah.
What's your pitchers look like right now?
So right now we got the Schwellenbach, we got Mason Miller, we got Munoz, Bautista, Steele, and Paul Skeens. And I like to load up aggressively on pitching, mainly because my categories, like I said, I can just kind of um, feel that out over the course of a season and kind of plug and play. I will
Mm.
probably only go with about a one or two bench player, just to kind of rotate those guys in. And they'll probably be staff fillers, like the guys that I'll just kind of say, okay, what do I need for the week? It'll be streams. Like I like to keep a stream open. So in baseball, you can kind of like run a stream player where, those you don't know, it's like you pick this guy up for 14 days. He's going to have an incredible 14 days for you, and then he's going to fall off a cliff, and he's never going to come back to that. And so you kind of want to pick up those guys in the season and have that availability to do so. So I kind of keep it very lean. And then I kind of just wait it out. Like if it's a player that I see values coming out of it, I'll go with them and I'll say, hey, like I'm gonna ride this guy's streak until it falls off, and then we're gonna just drop him and get the next guy.
Fuck man. I miss fantasy football watching this shit. Damn it. I should just join a baseball league for
You
shits and gigs.
should.
Try and figure it out.
Arise is an interesting guy. He's just like a fantastic hitter. Um, and I like him in San Diego. It's just he doesn't provide anything except for average, and he really provides it. He's really, really good at it. But I'm gonna go with Luis Garcia here and just kind of lock in that second base slot here. And now I pretty much have my entire offense sorted out. I will be looking to draft this gentleman right there in Matt Shaw. Hopefully he's still there. Um, and we'll kind of build off of where that goes, but I'm really going to focus on the pitching that I kind of have highlighted there in the queue. and see and hope and pray that they get the value out of those players. Now, biggest thing here is Miami. I think Alcantara is going to get moved. So I'm not actually looking at the team that he's on per se, but this guy is a Cy Young potential, like guaranteed. Shane McClanahan,
Oh, that's
before he got
interesting.
hurt, also Cy Young. So there is a lot of opportunity in these guys to have big seasons coming off of those injuries. Like, there's nothing to say that they shouldn't. But sometimes with pitching and just arms, like they go through struggles right off and right away, post coming back from injury, which is honestly a thing that's normal. Um, but in like baseball, it can take like a 1 or 2 year stretch for these guys to finally kind of come back to form. The good thing on this is these guys are young, so I'm I'm gonna bet on that. Grayson Rodriguez again was just kind of fell off, but there's always that high blue chip kind of prospect potential. So you kind of keep an eye on this guy. I'm not going to draft him until later. I like Jared Jones and what he offered last year more than I like what Grayson Rodriguez did. So that's something that we're going to kind of look. But on that, there you go. Sandy just went. So I'm going to look for this guy. We got pitching over here. Yeah. What is it then?
Did Kiermaier hang it up or what?
Now, Kiermaier's in the Jays system. Like he's he's a coach. He's an outfield coach.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's fucking jokes.
Yep. There's my boy.
Wait, didn't he win it last year?
What? The glove?
No, Kiermaier. Did he go to the Dodgers?
He did. Yeah.
You're telling me this guy won a chip and just packed it in,
Yeah.
eh? That's amazing.
So you got to be kind of mindful with like. So I bring up BABIP, and it's like a luck play. Those like guys who had
The
like.
acronyms are
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh, honestly, these like every single one of these is so funny to go through. Like they're the most obscure, like randomly put together acronyms, but they all have a purpose. And this is like they just always find a new stat in baseball. It's honestly the best. That's why I love like what like things just pop up randomly. You're like, well, what was this? Like, what? Who made this one?
Yeah.
And it's just because there's so many enthusiasts out there that actually like are just trying to find ways to give value to different parts of the game.
Yeah.
And it's the reason that this page exists. Like, it's finding every single opportunity within the league to try and evaluate it. Like luck. This is a luck. This is a luck thing. Like this is like someone's evaluated luck. Like if a ball dropped and whether or not that was lucky. Like like that's fucking
That's
crazy.
fucking crazy.
Yeah.
What is barrel percentage?
That's just how hard, not how hard, but how often the sweet spot of the bat gets hit. So it's like it's a player like
Wow.
whether or not they give up a lot of like good like having this is not a good situation, but having one of these is pretty good, right? So it just means that
Yeah.
they don't make good contact off the barrel. Hard hit is how hard obviously the ball gets hit off the barrel. So when you have a hard hit percentage that's high, it's not good. It usually gives up like a lot of runs, different things, um, and then exit velocity is EV. So it's like how often does a player like how high is the exit velocity off a bat on average? Meaning is like how hard are they getting smoked? I like to look at whiff percentage. I also look at swing percentage because whiff percentage basically means that the ball was in the zone and the guy took a swing at it and missed. And then swing percentage is like to compare these two together, is basically looking at like how many times does a player's pitch induce a swing, and then how many times does that player induce a miss on that swing. So it's kind of like you're taking value in like how effective that pitch really is. There is some crazy shit. Like I know that we talk about
Yeah, this is
the
wild.
sports of like analytics and football and what they're trying to do with like the next gen stats. Um,
Yep.
Baseball is unrivaled with this shit. Like the spin of the ball, the adjusted spin rate, the like what would happen if the ball fell here and not here. Like it's literally absurd. As well as like trying to keep like the rotation of the ball. Like the launch angle of the ball is a big determining factor in whether or not a player is going to break out for power. And guys who adjust on their launch angle typically do have breakout seasons. Um, and so it's kind of nuts how granular this stuff is. And if you're like a stat geek like me and you kind of run into it and you just want to learn it and understand it, definitely going to be some more content on this as the page kind of develops. But this is kind of the stuff that we look for and we try to analyze and kind of find those correlating factors, and put them together to kind of give you that like, hey, what is the situation with this player? Was this, real, or was this hypothetical? Like, did this guy just get into a string of good scenarios? Good, maybe it was just a string of really good games against their stuff specifically, right? And you kind of get into those moments throughout the season where you might just run into some teams that are just really bad against the breaking ball, and you have one of the elite breaking balls in the league. So there's so many factors in this, but honestly, it's so much fun to kind of deep dive into. Very passionate about it, as you guys will see as this develops. But honestly, it's just great. It's great to watch. Anthony Edwards just went. That sucks. Who took him? Craig. Craig's a genius. You remember Craig? I don't think you can't remember Craig.
Yes, we all remember
Yeah,
Craig.
Craig's a fucking genius.
Even
Craig might
in
be the
fantasy
smartest person
baseball?
in Canada, if I'm being low-key about it.
That's fucking crazy.
One of the smartest guys. Um, you got Jeff Hoffman, Austin Wells. That's interesting. Kerry Carpenter. All right. I still like Sonny Gray here. Um, and because I'm going to go right back to back, I'm going to pick Sonny Gray, and then I'm going to try and pick either Shane or Jared. I'm probably going to pick Shane, but I might pick Jared. Not sure about it. I kind of like both of them. So there's Mr. Jared there, right? Good swing percentage, high whiff percentage, right? It's going to get a lot of
Carlos
strikeouts.
Rodon, that's a name I know.
Yeah, there you go. Um,
Fuck it. I'm just finding the names that I know
yeah,
here.
he has a hard hit percentage, so kind of see as I did that. So Sonny Gray here just as an opportunity. So he's not a big strikeout guy, um, but he's not terrible on getting plates. He also doesn't give up a lot of high average games. Um, and his hard hit percentage and everything else is really, really low. Like so he gives up a lot of contact, but a lot of ground balls, and so he's good with that. Um, and then on the flip side to it, it's what I'm kind of looking for now, which is like I'm trying to gonna fill these like Statcast, K opportunities. So that's why I have whiff percentage kind of highlighted because I'm looking through the players that induce a lot of swings, um, and also have like a high potential for strikeouts. And so you kind of look through the list here. Jared Jones is probably who I'm gonna go with. Um, I was big on Tarek last year, as I mentioned, came through. Cole Reagans, I was also huge on. He was fantastic. Did Jared go? Fuck, every time, man.
I love that shit,
Yeah.
man.
So we're gonna go with Shane. I like Shane. Yeah, we're gonna go with Shane. We'll take a high risk for a high risk. That's also high risk. Jackson Job. What if Harry was gonna go back to back on that? There's a couple of these guys down here that are just interesting. This I'm 100% gonna try. I'm gonna actually move them up so I don't forget about them. There you go. Um, Max Scherzer there as well. Casey Mize has apparently had a pretty good spring. I haven't really looked into it, but this guy was like touted at one point to be like the best, and he just has not been.
How old is this
I think
guy?
he's 27, but funny enough with Casey, like there are so many pitchers that go through. Nice. I don't know what's happening there. There are so many players that go through this and essentially they don't break out until they're like 28, 29. Like it's just a pitcher's like peak season is like 28, 29, 30, 31, and then they'll just drop. They'll just kind of regress significantly very fast. So it's kind of nuts. But like they'll go through a peak where they're just going to be fucking phenomenal through that stretch. It's like the peak of a player. Um, so that's something that I keep in mind. So when I'm kind of going through these guys, it's like, what is their age? How long have they been in the league? When are they kind of aiming for that like maturity to come with the game as well? And it honestly starts hitting around like the 27, 28 mark. It's kind of like the running back when you look at like the life of a running back in like 24, 25, 26, and you're kind of looking
Yeah.
at that stat and being like, you're not going to get your anomalies like Derrick Henry, where that just is weird. You're going to get your players that are just always going to break out for 3 seasons and then fall off a map. We're kind of seeing that right now with certain players in the league, and this is the same thing with like baseball and pitching. That's right. It's like you have a hitter last into their like mid to late 30s, and then really kind of find that cliff and jump off of it. But then in this, like you'll have an extended period of time where a pitcher could be like fantastic in the early going, probably going to go through Tommy John, then he's going to come back around, might go through Tommy John again, and then literally in 28, 29 season, they're going to just be outstanding. So
Baseball seems so volatile to
it
me.
is so
I don't
aggressive.
understand the fucking contracts in baseball. Like, it makes no
Oh
sense to
yeah,
me.
that's the best.
I mean, not talking about like price wise, like
Yeah,
obviously the no salary cap, things
yeah,
like that. I'm talking about the years. Like, who in their right mind would sign anybody to a fucking 14-year
yeah,
contract? That seems nuts. Like, the return on investment just doesn't make sense to me. Like, even 7 years, you look at that and it's
yeah.
like, I don't fucking know what you're gonna be 7 years from now. Like, Vladdy could get paid and just turn into a fat ass and sit at fucking first base for the rest
He
of his career
absolutely
and do
could, and
nothing,
and
right?
people
Like,
have that fear. They have that fear that Vladdy will turn into a fat ass, just
yeah, like,
like
why would I want to invest
yeah,
14 years and I got to pay this guy? Like,
yeah.
who's that dude that gets paid on a certain day, like every single year?
Oh,
Th-
Bobby
the
Bobby
fuck is
Bonilla.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah, like,
yeah,
what?
yeah, yeah,
You don't want one of
yeah.
those.
Well, you might be getting one of those. Who knows?
That's the thing. Like, I just don't understand the contracts like that. Like, I have no idea what you're gonna be like 3, 4 years from
Yeah,
now. 14 years is
yeah.
crazy.
No, it's so valid. It absolutely makes a lot of sense.
Someone's got to draw the line in the sand there with those things.
That's where the question on the owners is, right? Like like
Yeah,
the business
who's
of like
doing
doing
this?
this is like the LA team has just got so much fucking back pocket money that they just can afford to pay because it's also an investment. They see it as like that they see the team as an investment, right? Like the team's going to be making
Yeah.
money. Um, and I think that's the crazy part to how they've kind of valued that is the team is going to make the money. The team has made the money in the Japan market. Like the team is going to continue to do so. LA is a flashy place. Like they know what that means. Um, and on a short trip as well. Like it's gonna that matters. So they put that investment there. Um, just kind of looking to see what I have here. Um, there's not a whole lot left in terms of like offense. I've kind of filled a lot of what I want. I could do with a little bit more power, I want to say, but I just don't feel like there's a lot left. Like this is not something that screams yay to me. Um, this isn't a bad pick. There's that guy right there that I was talking about.
Yep.
Finally, maybe he's healthy enough to play. Um, well, we're just gonna go with this pick here because I like it. I like Tanner. We're gonna solidify more pitching. I just kind of want to lock in on my pitching, and then I'll work back on like figuring out what I'm gonna do with this. Because I know that these are gonna be filler picks. Like they're not gonna be. They're not gonna. I'm gonna find something else. Like throughout the year.
Yeah, is this upside time? You're just kind of
Yeah.
shooting for upside around here.
So that I'm gonna lock in. Um, that'll probably be my next guy.
Would you say how many rounds is this one? This draft?
Uh, I can't remember how many. Shouldn't be too many more.
Round 13. Well, you got what? Two utility? Fuck, you probably have like a full bench you got to fill still.
No, well that's the thing. Like I'm not gonna focus on that too much. Um, I'm 100% gonna snipe this guy right here, and then this guy, and then I'm gonna pick one more rookie and just see where things lead me. And then I'll come back to the pitching because I do just kind of like where I'm looking. But that's the current spot, second overall prospect behind Roki Sasaki. So he's an outfielder. I like it. See how it goes. Um, absolute smashed. Gonna get called up. In fact, Boston is kind of disgusting. I'm not gonna lie. Boston makes me nervous. We're talking about a team that has a lot of talent kind of coming through. Boston is going to be a problem in the next coming season.
Oh,
They've
lovely.
they've sucked for a little while. Damn, great pick, great pick, Brandon Woodruff. I've been eyeing that shit for last like 5 rounds, 6 rounds. That's okay. It's not okay. I'm upset. I'm upset right now.
I can tell.
Ah, and there he goes. You fuck. Ah, yeah. See?
This is the worst,
Yeah,
man, in the back ends of
yeah.
the
It's like
drafts where
I
you're like trying to get
100%.
these guys.
This guy right here, Tyler, and we might have Tyler on the show because he's fantastic at this shit too. Um, but literally uh, saw Roman Anthony leave the board, and he 100% went, you know what, I'm going to get Matt Shaw. And that's such a good pick, and I hate that. Such a good pick. But now that that happened, I'm going to go for the other guy. No, it's not that way. And this guy. We'll be picking up him. There's a couple guys that are sitting. Marcelo Mayer is probably going to make a jump this season as well. He was an early round pick, I think in like 2021. And there's a couple of these guys that come in Boston system that is just really, really good. But here's the category fillers. You got Soler, who's going to provide you the bombs, might provide you a little something else, but most likely just OPS and home runs, some RBI totals. He's playing LA now. I don't know what to think of that. It's going to play cleanup for sure. And you got Taylor Ward. So this guy actually went off when Mike Trout's healthy. Unfortunately, that's just only when Mike Trout is healthy. Um, and that's part of the problem with him is that he gets that protection, and then when he doesn't have it, they pitch around him, and so he kind of falls off. And then you got your Max Muncy, as I mentioned, just solid guy, provides two categories tops, and so now we're kind of in that category where it's like how many players. So this is where I'm going to probably sneak in with like these two guys. Jerickson Profar was awesome last year as well. He kind of broke out finally, and finally got some respect to his name. Had a big part in the series last year. That's another good one. See, this guy knows what he's doing. I can't like this guy. This guy knows what he's doing. Tyler knows what he's doing, and Joe gets it too. That's just classic. But um, I'm gonna have to fill because these guys are gonna go to my NA slots, but I might honestly see what happens at the tail end of this draft here and kind of feed into the next phase of it, which is gonna be hey, is it outbound like for fucking is it like guys that I'm gonna feel good about, or I'm guys that I'm gonna drop, like what's the situation there?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. All right. Well, I think Corey may or may not be falling off the map here with his battery life here.
Low power here, pal.
Yeah,
Didn't
low
expect
power.
your draft to go
Honestly, that first couple
fucking
rounds was
30
absurd.
rounds, bro.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna have to condense this for the tube. But this
We'll
is a
condense it down, but I mean, it's been a good show. You're
yeah,
laying out some knowledge here. It's
yeah,
been pretty solid considering.
yeah. No,
I can't wait till football season. It's going to be a massive back and forth. We might do 100 of these drafts
yeah,
for you guys.
we could, and we probably will. Clay Holmes brought in a lovely pitch. Um, like it's like a splitter splinker type of situation, but he's added it in, and it is disgusting. So I might line into that. See how that goes. I just don't know how I feel about his like half and half. What he's gonna provide, but it could be nasty, especially for the Mets. Mm-hmm. Might like it. Might like it. Quality starts is always a good indicator as well for like just generally players that go deep tend to have an opportunity for like for bats for pitching. Mitch Keller I was high on last season. He just kind of come to fruition, but still kind of can go through a solid spot in getting what you need. But none of these guys honestly like big standouts for me right now. I'm gonna probably lean more into what's my rotation look like? Webb, Schwellenbach, Skeens, Hook, McClanahan, Gray, Steele. I like that. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. That's where it starts coming in, where you're just kind of filling in those innings eaters. Josh Bell. I like his breakout. And Atlanta's a good team. With Jerks and Profar. Matt Shaw being taken really bugs me. That bugs me.
Jurickson. It's a solid name.
Yeah, we're
All
about.
right,
We're
I think
speeding
we're
up
getting
now.
into the dying rounds of this draft.
Yeah, we're definitely speeding up now. That's for sure.
What do you think? Wrap it up now?
Yeah, wrap this shit up. Last
Okay.
pick. Who's it gonna be?
Who's it going to be?
Who's it
Give
gonna
him a
be?
good one. Good one for the road.
You know what? Just because I'm a Jays fan, we're gonna go with Bowden.
Oh,
Just
wow.
because, good things for. Actually, fuck it, Christian Campbell. See how that goes. Just
That a wild closing for you
just
guys.
needed to
That
figure
was
that out.
beautiful. Well done.
That's it.
Well done. Well done.
All right.
That was awesome. Solid. Solid. Hope you guys took in a few things there. I know I did. Definitely. It's baseball season around the corner. I'm sure Chappie's going to be getting into a lot more of his
Lots is about to drop.
his baseball talk here. He's talking about Chappie's cheat sheets there. He's going to be talking a lot of baseball. So hopefully you guys tune in if you guys are baseball fans. It's going to be a good show. So appreciate you guys tuning into the draft today. We're going to get more of these going. A lot during football season, like we touched on, but I'm sure Chappy will get a few more in before the season starts for you guys too.
Absolutely.
So,
all right.
Appreciate you guys tuning into the show. We'll catch you guys on the next one. You guys take care.
Easy.